Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio. If you're looking for a great gift for the Indiana sports fan in your life, just go to isbradio.itemorder.com and you'll find plenty of options, including sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts, pullovers, caps, and much more, including our Welcome to the SIG 10 line that benefits the local Boys and Girls Club. That's isbradio.itemorder.com. isbradio.itemorder.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, here at the Hard Truth Distilling Company studios on this frigid Friday. Hopefully it's going to warm up a little bit, though. Todd Leary, the shot father from myjumpshot.com, with us right now as well. Man, some football news. Indiana loses their first coach, Tino Sunseri. He's off to UCLA to become their offensive coordinator, Todd. He replaces Eric Bieniemy. But less than 24 hours after he does that, UCLA gets a 4-star quarterback flip to UCLA to go with him. So that is already paying dividends for the Bruins. And the Bruins, as much as they were the butt of jokes this season, they turned it around. They played well throughout the year and got better. I think they finished one game under bowl eligibility, but they started turning things around, which was good to see for them and helped Indiana. But Indiana loses their first coach.
Was he one of the ones that came with Coach Sig?
Yes.
He was. He's been with him for a long time.
Yeah, well, probably, I don't know, maybe 6 years, I think.
Yeah, that's a long time. So, we said this earlier in the season. Job number one was going to be to try to keep Signetti around, and job number two was going to be try to keep those coordinators and guys that have been with him, which is almost impossible. Almost all of those coaches that are coordinators want to become a head coach. Almost all, not all, but almost all. And it probably won't be the last coach they lose.
No, because every head coach was at one time an assistant coach.
Yep.
It's just part of the food chain.
Yep.
Hopefully it's a slow tide, though. You don't want to lose all those guys.
No doubt.
Because that's as hard, if not harder, than replacing key players.
And if you think about it, look across the country. I mean, Indiana did something that's pretty historical. Yeah, it's probably been done before, but to flip this program around, if the people who know where it was at, a year ago versus where it's at today, other programs, Coach Signetti gets the credit for that, as he should, but all these other guys were around and they saw it and they've been around for a long time. They know the system, and other schools are going to want to know that system and that secret formula that they had, because it's historical. I can't think of another example of it turning around to be as bad as it was. I've never seen anything like it in any sport.
No, me either. And granted, it would not have happened like this fast without the transfer portal. But with or without the portal, it's still
everybody had the portal. Everybody had the portal. So yeah, I mean, it's
remarkable.
Fair game.
Yeah, remarkable deal. Oh, how about Bill Belichick's name being bounced? He's spoken to the people at North Carolina. He's 72. I don't say that doubting that his coaching ability, obviously, but he's 72 and he's never even coached in college. Coaching in college is a hard ass job. It's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. I mean, it's just different. Like, I'm not saying it's easier. I'm not saying it's less time consuming. I'm not saying it's more. I honestly, I've never done either job, but when you just analyze the recruiting aspect of it, it seems like it would be a more time-consuming job and a more all-inclusive job for a 72-year-old man to just start doing. Like, if he's who'd they just get rid of, like Mac Brown or somebody? I mean, he was probably close to 70.
Who was 73.
I was going to say he was probably close to 70 years old. So, I mean, it's not like that age man can't do it. It kind of depends on the man. And Bill Belichick has literally been all over all of these broadcasts and all the different, NFL things, media things that they're doing. It's not like he's sitting at home on his couch doing nothing. So he's traveling around working and doing stuff. He's going to end up somewhere. I know they threw his name around about Dallas earlier in the year, and every time they throw his name around, I just don't think it fits. I look at him like an old school coach, and that way of coaching just seems to be fading away.
Oh, absolutely. I see a great position for him would be, like, we'll use North Carolina as an example, for them to find an up-and-coming coach, but to hire Bill Belichick as the coaching consultant. He doesn't have to do all the recruiting
crap.
Like
Thad Matta? You mean like Thad Matta?
In theory, yes. In theory, yes.
The way that was supposed to work out, yeah.
Exactly. But man, having him, can you imagine having him in your corner where he is just working with the coaches on designing and building the team and the program? I think that would be spectacular because he obviously has a wealth of knowledge. He's one of the smartest people ever in the game.
Yeah, but look, like I'll just say it this way. This is not directed at any particular person in the world. This is just my feelings on that. Coaches I have yet to meet a coach that's at a high level that doesn't have somewhat of an ego. Okay. And I say that positively. I think you have to have that. I think the best players in the world are arrogant jerks. Okay. That's fine. Like that on the court, that's what you're supposed to be. Like you're there to win basketball games. You're there to win football games. End of story. And so coaches have egos, and on paper, you and me sitting here talking about, hey, Bill Belichick, over some up and coming coach, man, that situation is harder to accomplish than what it just seems like on paper, because there's a lot of factors that go into it, and you got to get the right personalities mixed up, and that's mixed together, and that's not an easy thing to accomplish.
No, I was trying to quickly find a Luke Goody clip that I played the other day, but I think I may have already deleted it. It was after he had that big game, and I think that he said, I'm either one of, or I'm the best shooter or I consider myself the best shooter in the Big Ten, something like that.
Yeah, I heard it.
And not for a second did that even enter my mind as an arrogant. I knew exactly what he was saying and doing at that moment. It was just that obvious. And that is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that isn't an arrogant statement. If you don't think that, then you're not a very good shooter. End of the story. Now, there's probably, 25 kids in the Big Ten that feel like they're one of the top 2 or 3 shooters in the Big Ten, and that's the way it should be. That's not, there's probably 4 or 5 of those 25 that are delusional, but for the most part, that's why I've said it all along. Like, I think Anthony Leal is a good basketball player. Okay. I would not put him in a classification of like a standstill shooter. Can he knock down shots at a high rate? Yes, he's a good shooter, but I wouldn't say he's like a standstill shooter, like a knockdown shooter. Luke Goody's a knockdown shooter. Mbako, knockdown shooter. Like it's so apparently obvious when you watch those guys shoot, like there's a touch and a feel to it. Like I recognize that extremely easily. There's also very good shooters who don't have very good touch. They've just worked hard enough to get to that point. And that's what I would put some other people into that category for Indiana. But in no way, shape, or form is Luke Goody bragging by saying he thinks he's one of the top shooters in the Big Ten, because you better think that. You bet he's right, and you better think that, or you're definitely not.
Absolutely.
I felt that way, and I probably wasn't one of the 3 best shooters on our team.
Well, but partly
that's just saying. Like, I still felt that way though, and all the way down the line. Like, I think everybody on our team had that confidence, except for Chris Reynolds. Chris Reynolds just didn't have the confidence in his shot. He had the confidence in his game, but not the confidence in his shot. But all the way down our roster, Jamal Meeks is extremely confident in his shot. Like, people didn't know that, and he was a good shooter. He just never really got into that rhythm, and he was always labeled a point guard. So, you better think that way. No matter how far down the bench you are, you better think that way, or you're not going to make them.
If you don't, no one else is going to think it.
For sure.
You've got to believe in yourself without question. what was it like to find out that you were allegedly on a banned list? Uh, I found that to be funny, but while it is kind of comical, then there's the side that it's not comical, and it's there's a little dysfunction obviously there. Not that this is breaking news; it's not, but that cannot be good for a program. I wouldn't think, just to have that chatter, whether it's even true or not.
Oh no, it sucks for a program. Like there's no question about it. The fact that we have the negativity and all of that about it does suck. But I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong in the scenario.
Well,
Look,
I want to
it
say
is
this.
what it
I've
is.
been thinking about this. I just, it floors me because no one has gone out of their way more than Todd Leary to be positive about this program, to be positive about game in, game out, to be positive about the coaching staff, to not say negative things, to get upset with me if I do say negative things. I mean, that's what blew me away. You have gone out of your way to be positive about everything about it. And so that kind of floored me. And I was like, okay, that makes zero sense to me.
Yeah, and you know what? Like it's I'll just say it this way. Like I want to the team to be successful. I want the coaches to be. I honestly don't. I don't care if it would have been Archie Miller. Like I when Archie Miller got hired, I wasn't disappointed. Like when Coach Woodson got hired, I wasn't disappointed. I was excited that something new could happen out of it. I am surprised at the way that the team plays a little bit, at Coach Woodson's style of not liking the three-pointer. Coming from the NBA, everything in the NBA is so three-point heavy that I think I fell into the category of thinking that they were going to be more like that. And so I wasn't disappointed, and I've always kind of stood up for him. I do understand. Look, it's not always the coaches and it's not always the players. Sometimes it's a mixture of all of it when things are not going well and when things are going well. And so, I try not to get too negative about. I get super negative. I've tried to not be that way about the officials and that stuff anymore. But I the whole thing with Brian and all of that, like people don't know there's some stuff behind the scenes that Brian had with Coach Woodson and that stuff in the NBA, and Brian is probably warranted for having the feelings that he has. Those same scenarios didn't happen to a lot of the rest of us, so I think Brian started maybe on a little more negative note than a lot of former players did, and that stuff. And I look, we can't affect that. Like, let's just support what's there and hope that they get better. But when they don't, here's the hard part, and this is what we all learned that played for Coach Knight and the guys who even didn't play for Coach Knight even after. The standard at Indiana is high, and when they don't live up to that standard, boy, it's difficult for us to spin it and not say that. And I think this staff took some of that stuff a little maybe more directly than they should have about some stuff that Brian said. But whatever, like who cares? Like let's just go well, and then everybody looks good.
Yeah, I mean, even me, and trust me, if there's anybody that's going to jump out and just say it. Buddy, when Archie Miller was here, it was a daily. It was just like getting up to breathe. That he was getting an ass ripping because it was today.
Well, their style of play was so bad, like that. That's what was tough to watch. Like, it wasn't that we weren't getting recruits, and it wasn't the different stuff. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff with this staff that that they've been successful at, and there's some things that they've missed out on. And I think the Liam McNeely thing, leaving and going to another school with the success that he's having when we already basically had him locked up. Like that's something as a staff I would try to make sure never happened again. And it will happen again because you watch what just happened in all the football flips. Guys were going to go here, committed here, and ended up signing going somewhere else on the, in a one-day period. It's going to happen. you just got to do your best to try to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because that was a big loss. Liam McNeely would help this team win a lot. And
can you imagine him and Mackenzie Mbako on the floor
no,
at the same time?
I'd have imagined it. Yeah, I would like to have seen that. Yeah.
Todd Leary, the shot father. Make sure you go to myjumpshot.com if you have the need, the kids, or if you have a team, the whole team deal. There's just all kinds of scenarios. Appreciate you, my friend. Enjoy your weekend of college football. Good luck to the Georgia Bulldogs for Jessica.
Yep. Yeah. We need them to win. For me to have a good weekend, we need them to win.
Would you go to the Between the Hedges to watch the game if that happened?
We would. Yes, we would.
Well, let's hope for it, man. Todd Leary, appreciate you, my brother.
Thanks. Enjoyed it.
You betcha. Hello, sports fans. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Thank you for stopping by our YouTube channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe and notifications toggle so you never miss a thing. All of our content up here every day. Looking forward to it. Thank you, and we'll see you on the radio. If you're looking for a great gift for the Indiana sports fan in your life, just go to isbradio.itemorder.com and you'll find plenty of options, including sweatshirts, hoodies, t-shirts, pullovers, caps, and much more, including our Welcome to the Sig 10 line that benefits the local Boys and Girls Club. That's isbradio.itemorder.com, isbradio.itemorder.com.